Hello there everyone, we have an interesting game for you. This is Toadgarb versus Archies Blastoise. Now, I think this is going to be one of the more interesting games we post up. Archies Blastoise is a very all-in deck. You try and set up Blastoise turn 1 or turn 2 with Archies. You load up Keldeos, you take one hit knockouts. Toadgarb, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It's the most slow deck. It just slows the game down to its pace, where you're stuck playing a supporter, attaching energy, and that's basically all you can do for a turn by quaking punching and locking the abilities with Garbodor. So it's very much the balls to the wall versus the very slow control deck. Now, as you can see here, I go first. I'm on the right playing Toadgarb, and Adam Hawkins is on the left playing Archstoise. I attached double colourless to Seismitoad. I was a bit unsure there, but then I remembered Archstoise can't really fit Enhanced Hammer, so it wasn't too much of a risk. And I go straight for a Trubbish. Locking the abilities as soon as possible is very important in this matchup. It prevents them rushing in with Keldeo, so they take more and more laser damage. It prevents them attaching energy with Blastoise, so you slow the game down so much. Of course, if they do manage to get many energy down turn 1, that won't necessarily matter as much because they can just kill Seismitoads in one hit. I just passed the turn there. I think I had Jirachi in hand, but I didn't really need to go for anything because I had a Crushing Hammer in hand and I wanted to keep that to remove any energy off or potentially remove energy off the Keldeo. Adam here plays an Acrobike and then a Trainer's Mail. He's trying to get his hand down to as low as possible so he can play Archies. He needs a Blastoise in the discard pile first of all to be able to do that, but the thing about this Archies deck is that it's actually very consistent at doing this. In all the games we've tested, which is quite a few, we're hitting between 75 and 80% chance of getting it in turn 1 and getting energy out. In one game, in fact, I do believe Adam got 8 energy on, but I can't find that game, unfortunately, so otherwise that one would be commentated. So okay, he gets Execute in the discard pile, I believe Archies and Blastoise as well. Ultra Balls cards away, doesn't need to discard the Execute there, because he actually wants to get those cards in the discard pile, get those cards out of his hand. He's not sure about what to Ultra Ball for, but I believe Articuno is pretty useful here. You can Chilling Sigh and put the Seismitoad to sleep, stopping a turn of Quaking Punch, since a lot of these Seismitoad decks run very low counter switch, if any at all. He then versus Seekers, gets the Blastoise out, and draws 5. He also played a Professor's Letter for no effect there, which was quite interesting. He could have played it for 1 energy, I believe, and attached it. So I'm not sure why he didn't do that, but it's not too big a deal. He just draws 3 energy off the Archies to start swinging. I think it would have been a big deal if he had only drawn 2. And he just does 110. So yeah, 110 turn 1 is pretty good. I don't think you should expect it all the time with this deck, but when you get it, it's very nice. Now I get a Crushing Hammer. It's a Tails. And I Stellar Guidance. Now I believe the other 2 cards in my hand are Versus Seekers, but he's down to a hand of 2 cards. I did see him get a Juniper, but I mean, I'd rather not give him a bigger hand and a Juniper. I go for I consider a Flare Grunt there, which is a little bit too cute of a play. I think I just got to go for a draw. Yeah, so I just take the Juniper. My aim here, of course, is to get the Garbodor and Floatstone. And it doesn't really matter if a Seismitoad goes down. I mean, I can go down 5 prizes and still win because of the nature of Toad. I just draw 7 straight away. Looks like I do have the Garbodor and Floatstone. So this is pretty much a perfect turn 2 for Toadgarb. And I put him to sleep with the Laser Flip as well, which is incredible. So he's taking 40 damage on Quaking Punch. It's not going to die anytime soon, but... Oh, and he wakes up. You didn't see that dice roll because it went off the table, but he woke up there. Now it discards, I believe that was a Trainer's Mail, as he can't play it, and just Junipers or Sycamores. He gets an Engie in hand, but decides to not attach it. I'm not really sure why. I guess because the Keldeo isn't going down anytime soon, and he wants to decide how many Engies should go where. I believe he could have attached one to the Articuno. Unfortunately there, I just have to end. I don't have a Toad in hand to continue the Quaking Punch. If I did, I believe this game would be very, very much in my favour. But without it, it gives him the opportunity to use some items. Now I do find a Seismitoad in this hand and a Muscle Band, but unfortunately no double colourless to attack with, and so I have to just leave Jirachi active for to be a sacrificial lamb. The reason I'm okay with this is him going down to 2 prizes means my ends are very strong, and then he'll be struggling to draw energy, since these Archies decks tend to draw 10 or 11 energy. Play 10 or 11 energy, and of course when you're Enter 2 and Quaking Punched and Garbotoxined, you can't really draw those energies, and definitely can't play that many in one go. So this turn he can use items, but the question is how strong that actually is. Because being able to use these items is all very well and good, but the deck's items are mostly based around getting more energy down. And since he can't do that with Blastoise, he's kind of stuck. So he had to Verse Seeker for a supporter, and then just Juniper as it is, and attach 1 energy. So though he can thin his deck out a bit with the Battle Compressor in his hand and the Acro Bike, it's not actually too strong. Now he discards a Lysander here. I think that's a mistake because the Garbodor is so strong in this matchup, and I don't have a double colourless to attack. And I mean, I don't believe my hand's completely dead, but with only 4 cards and without the chance to get going, I think it would have been better to take the Lysander. The Muscle Band isn't all too important here. He attaches it active. Now the Keldeo can do 130 with its Secret Sword. And then he Ultra Balls, discarding the Jirachi and Archies. I don't know what he's actually looking for here. I think he might want to take Mewtwo. The list we made plays 1 Mewtwo because I just think it's a really strong card, and the Archies deck can struggle against 1 Mewtwo sometimes. Because if you are attacking for 6 energy, Mewtwo needs 2 and a Muscle Band to just kill your Keldeo, and then you need to get another 6 energy, which just to kill the Mewtwo. So we play 1 Mewtwo just because that makes it a lot easier. So he, I'm not sure what he's doing here. He's Battle Compressed. The 3 NG to the side, but they're supposed to be going in the discard. There you go. Yeah, so he's Superior NG Retrieval, I believe, for the 3 NG. I don't believe there's any others in there, except the one he just discarded with Superior. So I now know his hand is just 3 energy. And so this kind of suggests I might want to be ending here. And I do top deck a Juniper, but there is an N in the discard pile. Now he has 5 cards, 3 of them are energy. So I Versus Seeker for the N, and I play it. I sped these videos up because shuffling takes forever, but it still takes forever, even with a bit of speed up. We're just trying to make sure the decks are well shuffled and everything, because sometimes we draw, say, multiple cards of the same in one draw, and that generally means we've not shuffled it properly from having it laid out or something. So okay, his hand isn't too amazing. I bench a Seismitoad and put the Verbank down for more damage, but unfortunately it looks like no double colourless again. So I just promote a Seismitoad to sap a hit and just do poison damage. Adam's miscounting the poison damage. It was on 70 and now it goes up to 100. The reason this is important is because a Quaking Punch can then knock out the Keldeo. And then if he doesn't attach energy this turn, then he doesn't actually have a go-to attacker. I missed a Quaking Punch, but it's how important his items are. I'm not sure what what the deck check was there for. I believe it was an Acrobike. We discarded water. Okay, so he gets a water energy on the Articuno. He's not sure to put it there. I believe it's correct to put it there, because if you do 130 to Seismitoad, you attach and then you manage another attach next turn, you have a approximately, well, you have an exactly 50% chance of knocking out with a heads. No, in fact, you only need one heads because I'm taking 130 damage. So you in fact have 7/8 chance of just winning the game straight off. Now he takes poison damage. I Ultra Ball, I believe that's Garbodor and Enhanced Hammer. Enhanced Hammer, of course, not useful at all in this matchup. I just get another Seismitoad. Just to thin out my deck really here. I'm probably not going to be attacking with all of these in the game. I attach Muscle Band to the bench one. I don't need to attach it to the active really. It doesn't need to do the extra damage here. And I'd rather a Float Stone on it because of the damage it's taken. Now unfortunately I'm not in too good a shape here. I just attach a Head Ringer. I do get a double colourless, but if that Articuno gets 1 energy, it's a 7/8 chance of me just losing straight off. So I just go for the double colourless and Quaking Punch. I don't have Float Stone to retreat. I don't have hammers to remove energy in hand. So I've just got to go for the only thing I can do here, which is just Quaking Punch. And just hope he misses another energy. So I knock out the Keldeo, promotes Articuno, but it looks like his hand is very, his hand is gives him nothing, so he doesn't have an energy. Now I stay asleep unfortunately, so it gives him another chance, but at this point in time a lot of energy has been discarded. His deck doesn't have too many left, and I can just Lysander a Keldeo to bide me some time. Putting the Head Ringer on it is very helpful, of course, because he can't actually Float Stone it. And now he'll need 2 energy to retreat the Keldeo, and then another energy to attack with Articuno. So it's going to take him a while. I stay asleep again from the Chilling Sigh, and that's kind of the strength of Articuno here. Say if he had removed the Garbodor, he'd be able to rush in with Keldeo. Say if he had taken the Lysander earlier, and now kill whatever's active. So he puts 1 energy on the Keldeo, that's all he can do, and I finally wake up. Looks like, there's another double colourless in my hand, and a Float Stone. And I believe, I just Team Flare Grunt, removing the energy. Treat the active because it's got too much damage on it. And then this just allows me to put 50 on the Keldeo. This strategy's fine because there's no way for him to remove that Keldeo unless he plays AZ, and I don't think these Archies Blastoise decks really can afford it. And considering the way he's attaching energy to the Keldeo 1 by 1, it seems like he doesn't play AZ. And a bit of a rush there, but I go again for the Versus Seeker for the Team Flare Grunt. It seems like the strongest play to keep me in the game. There's a nice little numbers will work out here that you'll see in a bit. So this puts another 50 damage on. Now there's a little trick. So he's not poisoned or anything, which is a bit unfortunate, but if I did get a laser here, I could knock out the Keldeo straight away. But that would be a problem because then the Articuno could just come active, and with a Lysander he literally can just win the game. So I don't really want to go for that strategy. And as you'll see, I do a play here which slightly plays around that. I go for the hammers, I get a Tails, which is unfortunate, and decide to play the other hammer, and I do. And you can't see it went off screen, but it was another Tails. Now an interesting thing is, if I play this laser and knock out the Keldeo, he just Lysanders for the game. Now, I just saw him discard a Lysander earlier, so though that means 1 has gone from his deck, I think it told me at the time anyway that he had another left, because otherwise he wouldn't have just played them like that. So what I do is I actually pay the retreat cost to do less damage with the Quaking Punch, so that with the laser damage he dies coming into my turn. And due to that, he might then put the Articuno active, which gives me the chance to sleep it. And if I manage to draw my other double colourless, retreat to the undamaged Toad and potentially put it to sleep with the laser. I do also have a hammer left and kill the Articuno within 2 turns. He doesn't actually go for the Articuno because the Shaman only has 1 retreat cost, so he promotes that active. This is a bit puzzling for me at the time, if I remember right. And I do have AZ in hand, but the problem is just 1 energy attachment, and he retreats to the Articuno and gets rid of my Seismitoad. So I go for an Ultra Ball. It's more or less just to thin my deck, but there's nothing in there, so it's really more just to thin it after an N. And he only has a 1-card hand, and I know a lot of energy's gone, so I'm not really sure of why I played the N here. I think it's just to draw more cards. I guess here I'm looking for the double colourless to put on the bench Seismitoad to do 50 damage. Then with the laser I can kill the Shaman next turn. I don't get that, but I do get Computer Search. And what this can allow me to do is, with this Quaking Punch here, I can then Computer Search for the Juniper next turn, draw my laser and double colourless, and then knock out the Shaman. And it looks like he doesn't have energy, so that's why I guess I'm getting away with this play. Now, unfortunately, I draw the last laser, so that's actually not really what I wanted, because I wanted to be able to discard the 2 other cards in my hand with Computer Search. And as you can see, there's 8 cards in the deck, so I'd be very, very likely to draw the last double colourless and laser. And even if laser was at the bottom, I'd still have Trainer's Mail. So instead, I think I just have to Quaking Punch. Possible alternative was to retreat and Computer Search for the double colourless, but as I said, I'm a bit worried about the Lysander business, so yeah, in the end, it's better that I hold that, because Lysander's a Toad active, and what this allows me to do is Computer Search to attach the double colourless to the active Toad. I guess it was a mistake earlier to attach the Muscle Man to one of the Toads, the extra Muscle Man, but then I get double colourless and it's game over. So that there was quite a good showcasing for Toad Garb, and Blastoise, it's quite a strong deck. It suffers a bit against Garbodor, but if you can remove the Garbodor off the field with a Lysander, you should be in good shape. Of course, Toad can still lock you out of trainers, and since you only run about 10 energy, you can be stuck not having many energy in hand, and not really making good use of your Blastoise, even if Garb isn't there. So really, Toad Garb is just a very strong deck against the Archies Blastoise. And I do believe if Archies Blastoises make it through Day 1 Worlds, which I think many will, because I think it's a very strong deck against everything else in the format. People think it's a bit gimmicky, but I mean, anything that plays Archies as its main support or its main strategy will always be a bit gimmicky. But if you can get that to be successful about 80% of the time, then it's hardly a gimmick anymore. It's just a very strong strategy. And by 80% of the time, I mean turn 1. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I thought that was quite a fun game, and I thought it was nice to show you a game where I actually took prizes, and in fact actually won. And I don't like to do this, but anyone wants to comment or subscribe or click the thumbs up, please feel free, go ahead. We're starting this channel and we want it to get going, and people like our videos, it seems, so I'm glad to see that. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you another time.